let me just tell you guys that me personally, I was Shapiro crazy. I really do feel like Pennsylvania is a must win, and I feel like Shapiro could have did that for us. I feel like that. Now that doesn't mean that I'm correct. You know, we're gonna explore some other things today that all these candidates they go through a vetting process, and maybe they ran into some roadblocks there that we'll talk about.
I still do think that Shapiro was like but I think that coupled with the fact that I also learned in this, I'm not going to play it, but for the audience, it seems like Josh Shapiro might have some baggage that the Harris campaign just couldn't attach themselves to right now, with like 90 something days left in the election. He's got a case that's going to Supreme. It's the timing is terrible. He literally has a case going to the Supreme Court in PA, and it's from a time where he was Attorney General, where they ruled I believe a woman's death as a suicide, and it seems like there is evidence that it's actually a murder. So that whole thing, and he's involved in that because it was his office, that did that. So
for the viewers, it's Ellen Greenberg. It's the Ellen Greenberg case. Ellen Greenberg's death. She had 20 stab wounds. It was ruled a homicide at first, and then it was switched to a suicide. That's going to go into the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Like you said, bad timing. Josh Shapiro was the Attorney General, and he was asked to review the case, and he stayed firm in that it was a suicide. We'll see how that plays out. That doesn't mean that he's guilty of that. It could still be a suicide. But like Live said, you only have 90 days to frame this, and that is hard to frame and reframe. There's also
because from what I heard, there's evidence that she had damage to the back of her head. So it's like that kind of doesn't look good. But continue.
There's also the Israel-Palestine situation.
So I don't know too much about that.
Well, when he was younger, he had some disparaging comments towards Palestine. He now believes in the two-state solution, but still, the young people, the young voters, the ones that you want to be young, are taking a very pro-Palestine approach to this topic. More so out of empathy. A lot of people are not what's the word? A lot of people are not content with the way that Netanyahu and the people in charge of Israel have been handling Gaza. A lot of people are.
The narrative has shifted. Yeah.
Right. And Josh Shapiro is Jewish and for the most part supports Israel. So that could have been framed in a way where you lost voters, especially the young voters that you need in Michigan. Yeah. You need these guys in Michigan.
Yeah.
You need them because you need the whole blue wall. And then there's also, the fact that maybe he couldn't really deliver Pennsylvania. Maybe the gap was so big that it was a toss-up to give you Pennsylvania. Now, me personally, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I do think that now the election is lost. Personally,
really?
Yeah. I think we absolutely needed Pennsylvania to win. We 100% needed Pennsylvania to win. I guess you could flip Georgia and she can still win. If you're able to flip Georgia, you're able to flip Arizona, you keep Nevada, right? Maybe. But and you keep that whole blue wall, without Pennsylvania. So you need Michigan, you need Wisconsin. Maybe. But I gotta assume that you don't take Shapiro knowing that you lost Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's red. I could be wrong. He could still campaign with her. We could still close the gap over there.
It's still very much so a blue state, right?
No, it's a red state right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That happened.
Trump is polling this year. because
Wow.
Biden won it.
So one of the things that they were talking about was that it's, like the red state, it's a blue state, all this stuff. We're not as regional as we used to be because so many people have moved around, especially in recent years. It's actually tough to tell what a state really is and stuff like that. So you're looking at a situation where,
Wait, I have to correct something.
Okay,
We're in August.
we are.
So I'm not sure what this looks like in August. But as of July 29th, the average for the poll is Trump is up by 1.8. So that's actually not a lot.
In a certain state or
In Pennsylvania.
nationwide?
In Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah, he was leading Biden by like 8.
Right.
Yeah, so
Everything is shifted.
So Kamala has closed the gap there.
And you know what? So she's been campaigning for like 16 days. So you're talking about a little over 2 weeks. So now is the time that we're going to see all of those polls, because a lot of the polling comes through like 2 weeks.
Should have got.
Nah, I do agree. I do agree. Like I feel like Shapiro, but one of the things that I was hearing is that those like white men from the Midwest, that type of thing, she needed them.
Hey, that's the other thing
as well.
That's the other thing. The Republicans say that they didn't pick her because they didn't pick him because he was Jewish, and I think that's possible. Not because Kamala Harris doesn't like Jewish people,
right?
She's married to a Jewish man. I think it's because America. When you look at America, it's going to be really hard to sell a black woman, black and South Indian woman, and a Jewish VP. I think that's a hard sell. You need that traditional white man, the Tim Walz guy. That's why Joe Biden was Barack's vice president, right?
Right, exactly. That's why Joe Biden won with those people in 2020 as well. You know what I mean? It's so I can understand some of the pick, but I do agree. I now one thing I did hear about Josh Shapiro is the fact that this actually sets him up really well for the next election. Like he's gonna be one of the top contenders in the next election.
If Kamala wins, the next one is her running again.
It's her running again, but hopefully they learned their lesson and they still have an open primary. That you're supposed to have an open primary. So I mean, we'll see. But yeah, likely it's the incumbent, but we'll see. But nonetheless, next election cycle, Josh Shapiro stands to be, because here's the other thing. Josh Shapiro is very, very popular in Pennsylvania. So I do think that it still moves the needle in that direction in PA, to give Kamala the vote. I don't know. I
mean, look, you want that. You want Big Gretch in Michigan.
Big Gretch.
You want Big Gretch to Gretchen Whitmer.
Right.
You want her
Whitmer.
That's not her name?
Whitmer? I thought it was Gretchen Whitmer.
All right, my bad. Rural. You want her.
What pills did you take?
Dayquil. I'm so loopy.
Who did you get that from? Dude in an alley? Like
at the airport. I bought them at the airport. So yeah, you want her to put her arm around her. She got her buffs on. Big Gretch with her buffs on. Telling everybody vote Harris. You want that, and you want Josh Shapiro to put his arm around her and get the points up, right? You want to go. Yeah. They're in Pennsylvania now. They're in Pennsylvania right now. This announcement was made in Pennsylvania. I don't know. Maybe you could pull up the speech that Tim Walz gave today.
I actually have it ready already.